a very wet and chilly Memorial Day morning. We've got a half-inch of rain overnight, so I am very happy I made the decision, despite the cows protesting, to put the cows and leave them in the barn overnight. And I think they're going to stay in the barn today too, because this is just too wet. If the field hadn't already been saturated, I might think about sending them out, because it was already too wet. I was checking the conditions down here in the barn. I'm seeing everybody's eating silage, which is good. And everybody looks well. I'm gonna go have some coffee and then we're gonna get milked. Oh dear, look at that. Have coffee and then start milking. The weather app is calling this light rain. It's a bloody deluge. It's 2:45, and the day is vastly different than it was even half hour ago. It is sunny and warm, and there's a breeze. So, mistake or not, I'm going to let the cows out into the paddock that they were grazing last time they were out for a few hours. I'm going to have to chase them back in for milking. But I just think that get that grass eaten, get it in the cows. Now, they're doing really good with the bale that I gave them this morning. But yeah, I think we're going to try putting them out, and then we're going to put them out again tonight. So if Bramble will go, then I'll send her out as well. I think we're going to give it a shot. It stopped raining hard around noon, and so it kind of tapered off from there. And like I said, bright sun for the last 15-20 minutes and a breeze. So in the area that they're grazing in, the majority of the water that fell earlier should be gone. So I just didn't want them grazing when the weather was pounding down. That's when they'll stir it to soup. So we'll just see. It's amazing how much water's fallen. Just I now have a lagoon out here forming. So hopefully it is draining out, and fortunately it's filtering out through some grass that'll absorb all the nitrogen. But yeah, the water running out of the barn and the cows being in here overnight and all that rain is ridiculous. So I'll get the barn scraped down this afternoon now, get these cows out. Absolutely different day than when I went to Bristol earlier in the pouring rain. It was about 56 degrees there. It is now 67 degrees, bright sunshine, warm breeze. I am going to have to go out in the field and retrieve the cows. And I'm just here checking on the substantial amount of rain we got. That is 1.5 inches of rain overnight to today. 1 inch of that rain fell today, because when I walked the dogs first thing this morning, I checked, it was just a hair over 1/2 inch. So yeah, this morning when we were milking, we got about 1 inch of rain. So 1.5 inches of rain overnight. Yikes. The good news is the rain that was predicted now for, well, today it's gone. I guess it moved through already. And then later in the week, we were supposed to have some showers, but they seem to be inconsequential. Nothing too strong or heavy at the moment. Now that could all change. I'll take it. I'm actually really amazed at the ground conditions out here in the field. There is standing water in places in the field. Probably tractor ruts or compacted areas from driving on it when it was damp. But the cows haven't pugged the field up. They haven't poached it or anything, which is pretty amazing given how wet it is. That is telling me that if it hadn't rained as hard overnight, if we'd just gotten a light rain, or the rain had come an inch and a half, had come over several days, this field could have been driven on. It's going to be a difficult one, I think, this year, because everything was just starting to dry up. I was just starting to think this week, holiday today, call tomorrow and see about getting the lime, seaweed lime. But nope, not now that it's this wet. The tractor won't come in here for another week. And if this field is like this, then the other fields that I grass measure are going to be as bad. That's an annoyance. Just out here waiting for Lottie, Queen Bee, to have a drink. Never stop a dairy cow from drinking, because that's lost milk. If they don't drink, they don't care. They'll leave. Lana's going to drink now too. Yeah, you let them have a drink, because if you stop that, then they don't get back to it. That's less hydration, less milk, less everything. So it's unfortunate. I need to get, we're getting the parts, and I need to get a trough further up the field so that this isn't a pinch point when they all stop to drink here. And I'm standing here waiting, and I'm gratefully seeing a number of tree swallows. But I don't see any activity. Oh wait, there is something there. I don't know what's at that house. Well, something's living in that house. And I don't know about any of these others. I forgot to clean them out. The bluebirds have been inhabiting them, which is okay. Chickadees inhabit them, but really what they're meant for is the tree swallows. Astrid, head to the barn. Come on, Lana, let's go to the barn. It's taking so long for Lana and Lottie to drink at the trough that the other cows are starting to come back from the barn. I haven't gone over there to close the gate. So I'm grateful to see tree swallows, A, in the field, and B, something inhabiting at least one of these boxes, because for every nesting pair of birds, they can catch up to something like 4,000 mosquitoes and flies in a day. So that's really important for pasture management, for keeping the pests off the livestock and us, and keeping the insect population down, especially as manure starts to get spread around the fields. So it's late in the afternoon on Tuesday. I really don't know what day it is. 26. So what's happened so far today? We milked cows. We got cows in from the barn. Lana was in heat, so we bred her. I've been playing with monkey wrenches. We had a food writer come and interview us. We've decided that today was just a delicious day, and we had an extra long lazy lunch. And I am now figuring out a water system to get the heifers out in the field. So I put, I'll have a bigger trough later, but for now, just for a couple days, I've got a float valve, and I've run it through the handle so they can't knock it out of the trough when it's full. It shouldn't be able to shove it around. The heifers are used to drinking out of the 5-gallon barrels. So now I have my 3 hoses figured out, so hopefully that will get me to where I need to get to. I can probably find another one, or I might have to make up or fix a hose to get further. But at least for now, 3 hoses should get me, yeah, we'll find out. They'll get me close. And if I could get them out in the field tonight, would be beautiful. This is exactly the annoying situation I'm trying to avoid. Cows were out here earlier getting a drink, and they knocked the float valve. They knocked the float valve partway out of the trough. So there it sits. That's why we're going to be putting in new water lines instead of hoses. Permanent water lines, permanent receptacle, tap points, and a better float valve system. Because right now we've got the rain and that little bit of water running down the hill. I'm not going to sweat it because I know we've got a little more rain coming. But if we get another drought, we're not out of drought, so technically we are still in severe drought. I don't want to be pouring water on the ground. Not only do the cows make mud in it, but it's a waste of water. And not to put too fine a point on it. And I'm going to mention that word.
Say the name.
Regenerative agriculture. You have to watch every drop of water. If you're not, then you're foolish, because we tend to get water in two ways on a farm. It falls from the sky, we pump it out of the ground. Falling from the sky, you have little control of, and it covers a broad area. Pumping from the ground comes from a single area, and when you draw up water, it has to infill from the outside to refill and replenish the aquifers that you draw out of when you're pumping water out of the ground. Now, it takes that rainfall to fall and percolate down through the ground to recharge those aquifers. But if that doesn't happen, the water you've pulled out of the ground, you are now sending away. So our well is way behind the house, but all this water that I just pulled out of there is headed down the hill. It's migrating. So think about bottled water, right? It comes from a spring in Maine, Poland Springs. I'm talking about you. And we send it all over the planet. It goes all over the planet. Maybe, whatever, US, wherever. It goes everywhere. It doesn't come back to Poland Springs. It's tapped out and gone. Water that comes from the ground is slower to recharge. And in a shifting climate, it may not recharge. So trees help hold water, grass helps hold water. Not spilling it saves water. So we want to make sure that pumping the water out of the well, we're putting it into troughs here on the pasture. The cows drink that water. I want that water to come, and they eat the grass, which has water in it. Goes through their digestive system, they urinate it out. I want them to be urinating it out on the pasture. What I don't want is them to come back to the water trough here and piss off water and shit around the water trough. The plan is to have more water points along here, so they don't have to walk very far. So the water stays out on the pasture. They urinate out there. And the worst thing to do is they come back every night and every morning when they go into milking, they hit this water, drink their fill, get back and piss it out in the parlor in the barn. And again, that's taking it off of where it needs to be. It needs to be on the pasture. It needs to be utilized in some way. It doesn't need to be wasted. It needs to carry the nutrients and put them back on the land or whatever. So I'm a little sensitive in a drought about water. So this year, no hoses that leak, brand new gaskets on all hose connections, permanent water line, better float valves, smaller troughs, because that's the other thing. It's hard on our well because this is a large volume of water. The cows will drink it down in one day if I turn the tap off. And then I have to recharge 150 gallons. It's better to just fill what the cows are drinking as they drink and not have the risk. And the reason we turn off the water is because they knock the float valves out the way they are, and the troughs are wrong. They're too big, I think. So I'm going with smaller troughs because that way they're easier to clean. They're not a waste of water when I have to dump this out and scrub it, or if a cow turns its tail over there and craps in it, as they do almost once a week. And you got to dump out the whole 150 gallons. So yeah, trying to make improvements, trying to be cognizant in a changing climate, because and I hesitate to say it,
Say the name.
climate change is real and it's man-made, and we're seeing the immediate and dramatic effects of it every year, and it's getting worse. So we got to do what we can in whatever way we can. Great, I'm out here standing next to the trough, and it's drained of the overspill. I'm wondering why I'm hearing water running. And I look down on the ground, and it's leaking out of the bottom, and there's a big crack in the bottom of the tank. Just fantastic. Right there, crack. So that's the second of those tanks that the cows have destroyed. The one in the barn that I am using temporarily down below, and then this one. They're both 10 years old, 5, 6 years old, I don't know. That's not good. Well, I was gonna buy 2 new troughs, portable, lightweight ones, and I was gonna use the blue barrel here for the heifers and dry cows, so that could work. But yeah, that's annoying that trough is cracked like that. There's a dung beetle. Trixie, why? I really don't know what Trixie's doing, but it's very annoying. If she spills that trough, I'll be very pissed. I managed to seclude her because she was right here and she was looking like she was thirsty. So now, if I can get the other 2 dry cows in there with her, when we get the rest of the cows in for milking, we'll try and put the heifers in. It may be a flawed strategy, but we're going to try. See what we can do, see what happens with the grass growth. Well, unfortunately, best laid plans. I've got 2 leaks in the hoses. I don't think I've got any hose repair kits left. And that would suck. So I guess, for the moment, I can't do what I wanted to do, damn it. That's really annoying, and I haven't got those parts ordered yet. So that's no good. All right, well, shoot. Got Trixie trapped in there. She's gonna flip out. Oh well, we'll let her loose later. All right, for now, I guess I turn that one off, turn this one on, and go back and turn it off at the barn. Hey Bram, come to take the waters? All right, so we got the 4 of the 6 heifers in the field. The older 4, Tethys and Ganymede, were just about to go through the gate when I got stuck in the mud, twisted my knee, and zapped myself on the electric gate. And they bolted and ran back to where they'd come from. The other 4 were galloped around the paddock for quite a while. I was a little nervous they were going to jump the fence. But they stopped, and they're now grazing. So Tethys and Ganymede are fine where they're at for the moment. They'll get, when the cows are coming by, they'll probably move up to the gate again, and I'll put a halter on them and bring them to where they need to go. For now, it's after milking. I gotta let the cows back in the field. Yeah, don't anyone tell you farming's easy. getting stuck in the mud, twisting my knee, then getting zapped, and then I got crushed by 2 cows who tried to get into the parlor at the same exact time with me in the way. So yeah, today's been a little brutal, and it's supposed to be over 80 degrees today. So cows came in at 5:30 this morning on their own. Don't know why. They hadn't eaten everything that I gave them overnight. So we'll see what happens today. I'm going to send them out now. It's still pretty cool, and there's still quite a bit of shade up at the top corner that's quite cool. And then if it seems to be getting too oppressive at noon, I'll bring them back into the barn. I've got something coming today, a gift that will be helpful in this situation. I'll see what happens when it gets here. Just out walking the dogs, checking on the cows and the heifers in the pasture, and realizing that's probably the most cows that have been in that field, certainly in our tenure here, but also since this was a dairy in the 40s, or maybe even earlier when it was definitely a dairy in 1912. So, yeah, we've almost got the full herd out. Just have to get Ganymede and Tethys out there, and that's all the grown cows. The calves won't go in the field till they're big. So last Friday I was out on deliveries for Allison, and I got a call just as I was pulling into one of the places I was delivering to from our customer service rep from SmaXtec. And he says, what did he say? He said something. At first, what I thought was, he says, hey, do you know, or something like that, that got me concerned that it was something about the system or the cows, or God knows our payment hadn't gone through or something. But no, he was calling to say that SmaXtec had seen videos on the channel and we're going to share them. And they wanted to show their appreciation for my saying positive things about SmaXtec. Now, I didn't ask for this. I kind of jokingly said in another video that I wish they'd send something my way because they'd asked me to speak to a farmer who, by the way, has never called, unfortunately, because I could share some insights. And we're probably one of, not the smallest herd the SmaXtec, at least US has, but one of the smaller herds. And we're also one of the few farms in the SmaXtec system that, I guess, probably processes their own milk on farm. And so that's a little bit different, and we're probably one of the fewer grazing herds. So Jeff, hi Jeff, called, we had a great chat, and he said, yeah, we've seen this video, we want to send something in a measure of appreciation, and we think you'll enjoy your present. And I also immediately, getting off the phone with Jeff, received a text from our salesman, the sales rep for SmaXtec, Joseph, and he texted and said, yeah, be on the lookout, you've got a box coming. It took a few more days than I thought, but so thank you, SmaXtec, thank you, Joe and Jeff, for sending this. So I know what it is, and it's going to be pretty cool. I joked about it the other day on the channel if it would be handy to have. Now, I double-checked. There's very little information on the website or in the literature about this. And so I don't know a lot about how this works or how it interplays. Nevertheless, I think it's going to be cool. I think it's going to be pretty handy. And what they sent me, and I'm very grateful for this. Like, again, we bought the system. We paid the monthly fee ourselves. We didn't expect this. This is just purely for honestly, I think it saved our cow's life, SmaXtec boluses that we put in. And I wasn't expecting to have that, be a thing immediately. I knew that it was going to help us with breeding and with birthing and treating sick cows and lowering our antibiotic usage and some things like that. But I was not expecting it to literally catch a runaway fever on a cow who otherwise didn't look ill, and we still don't know what was wrong with her. Would she have died? Probably, because we wouldn't have caught the fever in time. So yeah, whatever was wrong with Joy, we have no idea, but thankfully at SmaXtec we were able to pull her through it. So what they've sent me, and I'm pretty excited about this, because again, we've had 2 instances due to sudden rapid onset of hot weather that have caused cows distress. So they've sent a climate sensor module. Now this pairs with the base station. I'll have to figure out, because the mounting holes from the back are not on the front, so I guess I have to open this up. There's no instructions or thing. There's a QR code I'll have to scan. Anyway, this climate sensor pairs with the base station and provides a THI, a temperature humidity index. So it weighs humidity, barometric pressure, temperature, applies that, and then graphs it, and also correlates it with the cow's internal temperature. So when this is showing, like the other day when we had that 80 plus degree day with a temperature index of over 90, this would have possibly alerted and said, hey, yeah, you might want to get your cows in now. Of course, they came in, but by the time they came in and I caught it, they were already distressed. They were already panting. It took them most of the day to recover. And then, fortunately, my management decisions bore the fruit, and it worked out. Now, the cows had just come in and all came into the barn really early in the middle of the day. Now, it is hot. It got up as high as 80 today, but there's a lush breeze. They had shade where they were. And what I didn't realize was they ran out of water. So they all came into the barn for a drink. And that's the other thing this may help with is, well, I'm trying to put in a better water system so the cows can't run out of water. That it can just be left on, the tanks can fill up, there won't be hoses leaking and things like that. Because keeping cows hydrated in hot weather is essential. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get this installed. Now this is meant to go in the barn, and that's where I'm going to put it. It will still work fine for us in the barn, but it's really meant for the big kind of dairy barns where the cows spend most of their time indoors, where maybe they don't go out and graze as often, where being inside they might have to have fans turned on and misters put on them and things, big dairies. And certainly a big dairy that milked like 3 times a day where the cows were. So I thought I filmed that. I activated it with the magnet. You put it on a little X. There's these nifty ports for screwing it up, which mounting it, which are really handy. That keeps the dust and the moisture out of the main unit. You have to put it at least 8 feet up high and undercover in an airy place so that the sensor can read stuff, and read the air, whatever, temperature and stuff. And it wants to be within 300 feet of the base station. So and it's activated now. It's linked up to the base station. If I looked on my app, it should probably show that it's there. So I am going to stick this box and the magnet away. I gotta go get a ladder, and then I gotta go mount this. Yeah, we'll just have to see how long it takes for it to start showing any kind of data. And again, like I said, there isn't a ton out there. I'm pretty sure I read a blog post about it, and I may have heard it mentioned or seen it. Yes, it was hot today, and I having being squished by cows and I was electrocuted by the fence and stuff today didn't help my whole attitude today and general overall energy levels. Anyway, so there isn't a ton of information that I could find because this is so sudden. I mean, it really just happened on Friday, and I figured I'd get it here before I could ask any questions. It's been almost a week. I'm excited to find out what this can do because I am a data guy. The climate sensor has sent out its first data. That's fascinating. I'll post it here. The temperature is almost 81 degrees still at 5:30. The temperature, the barometric pressure is almost 1,000 millibar. I don't quite know what the red dot is, the 33. But anyway, I don't quite get how to read that. But the temperature humidity index is 73.5, which is over 72. 72 is sort of the threshold at which cows start to suffer heat stress. So yeah, I mean, making sure they have shade, and access to lots of water. That was my mistake today, was the water ran out because I've got leaky hoses and I've only been turning it on every so often. So somehow I missed them draining the trough and didn't get it filled back up again. They did have access to water by coming all the way to the barn. They weren't completely cut off, but I'd much rather them, like I was talking about earlier, have access to the water in the field so they don't have to leave the field. So they're not carrying all that urine back here to the barn and immediately depositing it to get a drink, and not putting it out on the field. Anyway, so I'm about to start milking, and overnight we'll see what that climate sensor starts feeding us some interesting data, I hope. And I'm happy to announce that Libby and Mabel came in the barn in the right order now and didn't squish me. See how they fit here like that? Libby's large and she's way over. Mabel just tucks in this way. But when Mabel was in Libby's spot this morning, Libby's ass was hanging out here. Very hard to milk. She does not fit in the parlor as built, because she has grown so much larger than when she was a heifer back when I built this thing. I know it was probably wasteful to buy a 10-foot hose rather than make one up. But I'm tired of all the leaks. And I only need a short section. I probably need less than 10 feet, probably 6 feet. But I didn't want to pinch myself in case I needed to be able to place troughs in a certain location or a certain way. I mean, 10 foot might be too short, but then I could always go with a coiled up 25 foot in that case. But for now, I got a couple of these. I got them in yellow, so they're easy to identify and we don't lose them in the field. I got 3/4 inch because it was a good compromise on water flow. Inch hoses tend to be a lot more expensive. They definitely allow for water flow. And when you use smaller troughs, you have to allow for better water flow so they fill faster. So I'm going to replace this broken, cracked, too long hose with this for today. We're working closer to a permanent water solution here that doesn't leak. They can just fill the troughs, and I don't have to constantly be monitoring them, worry about if the cows are going to run out of water because I forgot to turn on a valve. All right, heifers have passed their first rite of initiation. I still have to get Ganymede and Tethys in, probably later today. Allison's just about getting ready, set up for milking, and at some point we'll work them in here to be a little closer to the gate now. We've moved them from the front section where they were to the next section. They can be in here for 3 days. Cows just left this section yesterday morning. They can go ahead and graze off all the tall stuff the cows left. We'll see how they do here. Hopefully that front line's hot. She seems to be staying away from it. That's good. I managed to move their water trough easy enough. I forgot to let it go empty. Just makes it that much easier to drag. But yeah, I called their names. They came right to it. Opened up the fence line, they walked through. That is how you start a rotationally grazing practice. Every time they see you touch the line, they expect new feed. Builds up a habit. So that I was just able to, because they've been wild. I mean, since they've been out, they've been wild. They've been all over the place in that paddock. But now, let's hope they got plenty of food and that we can get Tethys and Ganymede in with them, and they can eat off even more of what the dairy cows are leaving behind, because I don't want to have to come in here and top. That's just a waste of diesel. and then I gotta hose off the mower and everything in order to cut silage with it. All right, let's get back to changing out that hose. I had to go to the workshop for some tools. All right, I got the hose connected. We'll see if that leaks. Now I had the wrong fitting on the end of this pipe. It's a male nipple and a male nipple on the hose, so I had to use a double female connector, which has been leaking, but I think that was partly exacerbated by the fact that the hose end was so compromised, the one that I was using before. So I'll go turn on the system and see if that leaks. Otherwise, I'll have to, I don't think I have one of the right fittings to put on the end of that pipe. So I'll have to wait till tomorrow, because it's Thursday, it's delivery day, and I won't have a vehicle.